Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou. Big fight in, Saudi Arabia. Like the time zone was all whacked. We were actually had it that we were going to talk about it, but the damn fight, like it started so late. This time zones, like really, the entertainment, which
gotta get those advertising dollars in.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you did the exact same thing last episode.
It was
as well.
crazy. But I want to give context on it. If you've clicked on it, you know who Tyson Fury is, you know who Francis Ngannou is, right? But for the uninitiated, right? So Tyson Fury is the heavyweight champion of the world in boxing. Tyson Fury is legendary. This is how legendary his name is. His dad called him Tyson after Mike Tyson, right? So his star was already set. So parents or future parents, you want to future projected it. Names are a big deal. Just putting it out there. But anyway,
Is Fury his actual real name?
surname is Fury. Yeah. The surname is
Damn.
Fury. So his dad put into project. This guy is a legend. Okay, so he beat the legend Vladimir Klitschko. You probably would know, but a big deal in boxing, and basically consensus heavyweight champion of the world, right? Like legendary. He's beaten so many fighters. All is to say this guy is the real deal, right? They call him the Gypsy King. When you look at Tyson Fury, we went and actually watched the fight. I don't know, Deontay Wilder, right?
Yeah.
And if you look at him, he's a big boy, and he really is a big boy. Like he's not ripped. He's not the aesthetic of what you think a fighter looks like.
Yeah.
He's born from a lineage of gypsies, so they call him the Gypsy King.
Oh.
And what he is so the boxing is the boxing sport is known as the sweet science, the technical element of punching people. Like it's not barbaric. There is a science to boxing, right? And the reason I'm laying this context is insert Francis Ngannou, right? Francis Ngannou comes from the mixed martial arts world, right? Formerly a UFC champion, and mixed martial arts means that every facet of martial arts is used, right?
Yep.
So Francis Ngannou and the UFC, the premier mixed martial arts.
It's like purist versus the
Exactly,
hybrid,
right?
right?
So had an ugly-ish divorce from the UFC in which he was the champion and he left the UFC. Unheard of stuff. The reason he did is he never had a good relationship with Dana White. He felt that they were dicking him around by pay, etc., etc. Not going to go into it. But this is where the stars collide, and we're going to talk. So this fight, the gist of it is Francis Ngannou, mixed martial arts, not boxing. Tyson Fury, not a scrub, basically a legend amongst boxing. So when they had arranged this, the only reason they arranged this is because in boxing, there are not a lot of big commercial fights. I'm going to get clipped for pure boxing purists out there. Of course, there are some big fights out there.
Well, if there's no more Manny Pacquiao.
Here we go. You're going to get the Pinoy.
That's our extent of boxing.
That's her line.
That's
That's
a single
it.
and a contribution.
That's my
So that's the reason they did it. That's the reason.
tried, guys.
That was the reason it was in Saudi Arabia. Like it was a money fight, right? They wanted to see this beast from the UFC who had one punch knockout power. How would he fare, right? And the odds were insanely against Francis Ngannou. And I'm happy to say that he did not win. It was a split decision. But I've watched the fight, not all of it in its entirety. I've watched that. He knocked Tyson Fury down. And he really had a good showing of himself where a lot of people, in fact, the vast majority of pundits out there, felt that Francis Ngannou won the fight. So this is a big deal. Like, again, just to put it out there, I was trying to think of an analogy, but it's just hard. It's like just saying, because the hard thing about this analogy is he was not a scrub in his... Okay, I got an analogy, all right? It's saying like Andrew Jones, back in the day, so like rugby league, for those who don't know.
Joey.
When Australia was struggling, people always thought Joey was like a generational player, right?
Yep.
If you put Joey in a green and gold, he would, or Thurston. I actually heard this about Thurston a lot. When Thurston was at the apex of his powers,
They just rise to the occasion.
yeah. If we put Thurston in an Australian Wallabies jersey, he would just. That's all Australia would need, right?
Isn't it kangaroo?
Well, whatever, right? Yeah. Well, is it?
Well, Wallabies,
Anyway.
Wallabies is for union, right? So
No, that's what I'm saying. Wallabies. So Thurston plays in league.
Yeah.
It's as if Thurston
Oh,
went
sorry,
to
I
you.
followed.
I'm trying to give an analogy here, right? He's not a scrub, but no one was anticipating him to win, and he didn't. But a lot of people thought he did, and definitely be as competitive. So there are two elements coming out from the Fury camp. One is he didn't take him like seriously. Yeah, and the irony is and you can think again, Tyson Fury is not a scrub. He is like and more like a legend in this fight, right? So you can kind of see why he would maybe not take it seriously. And number two, Francis Ngannou is actually much better in boxing there. So it was just interesting to see.
Sorry, can I just ask, what is Francis's kind of, because isn't it in MMA like
Yeah,
they
he's a
still
striker.
have a
He's a striker.
Okay.
He
So
is a
he's not
striker.
he's not completely out of the
No,
realm
he's
of
not.
it, right? As opposed to like I don't know, kickboxing or something like that.
Well,
like,
you can't kick, but yeah.
No, but you know what I mean? Like, it's not as if he's
not a
like,
wrestler.
He knows the
He's not a wrestler.
Yeah. He
I
knows
get
the
it.
basis of being able to strike. Yeah.
Definitely is not a fish out of water, but
Yeah.
that's why I said boxing is seen as the sweet science, because we
Temple.
have seen this. We have
the
seen
temple.
Okay, we've seen this fight before, and this fight was Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather.
Yes.
That's the template here. And Floyd Mayweather finished Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
And they were not in the same weight class at all. McGregor was bigger.
It makes no sense.
We remember watching this in Canberra.
Yes.
Huge, right? And this is the template that this Francis Ngannou basically
now going
was being
to-
built upon.
Yeah.
And you guys tell me here. So the template is crossover fights. So when I said there were no fights that Tyson Fury could have had, wrong. Of
in
course there were.
purely boxing.
No, they fought in boxing. But what I'm saying is this was the biggest money fight. And this is where we are now getting to the stage in combat sports specifically, where they're finding the biggest fighters in different disciplines and trying to merge them to fight against each other.
It's kind of like, you know what it is? I'm going to now put in my 2 cents of the analogy,
Sports.
right? It's sports.
Sports.
It kind of feels like, you know, when it gets to the period for reality TV shows where they have to bring like, well, MasterChef, right? So they have
Yeah,
to
yeah.
bring the favorites back,
Kinda
or
like
even
All-Stars
is it like
thing.
Survivor as well. It kind of feels like the echelon, the top echelon of the
Cream of the crop
you know
have
what-
to battle it out.
Yeah. That's literally what it's going down to, right?
Yeah. No, it definitely is. But it's this generation thing. Like you never had that back in the day.
Or superheroes.
And the purists don't necessarily like it, but again, they're just like, if you think about it, it is human nature to always wonder. If you have basically one league, which is mixed martial arts, other league, which is boxing, and they believe that boxing is the superior striking sport. And there's always been that. And now we're having levels of this there. And to be honest, this is the first time that a representative from the mixed martial arts scene has actually performed at an acceptable level, right? Because a lot of people thought Francis won this. So that's really impressive. And that's just going to hold Francis in good light.
I've got a question.
Yep.
Shouldn't it be like the best of 3 or something?
Well, look,
where it's like you're playing to the home and away of each.
Well, there were both the
like,
ways, because it was in South like.
No. I mean, as in, like, there's this, there. Yeah.
And I think because if this was one-way traffic, Tyson Fury, you'd not want to watch this again, right? You wouldn't, because you're like, all right, validated. He's the best boxer of all time, right?
Yeah.
Now, Tyson Fury, his camp is circulating. Hey, man, he didn't take him seriously. If he took him seriously, he would have knocked him out.
Yeah.
And Francis Ngannou saying, you can't fucking say that. Did you look at my face and your face at the end of 12 rounds? All right. You tell me, all right? Any idiot can see that, right? So what I mean is there is now a basis of exactly that. But again, the money element of the fight. And just to put it like out of an extension of that, these guys are actual professional athletes.
Yeah.
How do we explain this whole Logan Paul KSI shit? They're actually versing legends. Logan Paul versed Floyd Mayweather, who's a top 5 boxer of all time, and people paid pay-per-view money to watch that. That's like WWE. But these kids think they're real fighters. And to be honest, I think Jake Paul is, because he's beaten that many older mixed martial arts fighters. It's ridiculous.
But then the rubric there, right, is he's obviously younger and at a point where he's got the means to be able to train to that level.
Yes,
to a
but
degree,
these guys
right?
are professional
And-
fighters.
Yeah,
They are all professional fighters.
but they're older. They're not moving like they
Isn't-
were in their prime.
I think the interesting thing
shoot.
is what
I hate that I said that word. That's not sponsored, unfortunately.
I think. But I think the interesting thing is, back in the day, whatever the day is, let's zoom back 20 years ago. If a pseudo YouTube celebrity, that's what it is, would fight a real fighter, no one would care about it. But these fights
People
get massive
care-
numbers.
Well, one, okay, I've got 2 thoughts to put out there, right? one, YouTube celebrities are now the new frontier, or social media influencers, what have you, where they've got all their crew that is, that are diehard loyalists and be like, if anyone talks shit about them, they'll be like, J'accuse, and then start doing death threats and whatnot, right? Like, legitimately, I don't know if you heard, but Rosanna Pansino is in like some beef at the moment with Mr. Beast. She's like this a famous YouTube
She cooks and
baker.
Yes.
Yeah, would you say? Yeah. Apparently Mr. Beast is doing some sort of major competition with all of these YouTube celebrities, and Rosanna Pansino has accused Mr. Beast of editing her out. Like, she had made it to the top, like the end 3, and she got edited. Yeah, and she got edited out because Mr. Beast wanted to put Logan Paul instead. Unfortunately, the point what I'm trying to say here is that he does have fans. Like, they do have people that are massive. Like hardcore, kind of, but like, I don't know, believe in the hype, but like, we'll defend them to the end, right?
We spoke,
Sorry, and then the other piece to that is there's other people that just want to see them get crushed.
Yeah. But
right?
That's. I think the interesting. We spoke about this, right?
Yeah.
They have the best fans in the sense. This is like Swifties. These fans will pay money for their celebrity, and we'll watch
stuff,
it. We're watching SAS at the moment. Those CD, I hate saying that actually, but like they're not A grade whatever you want to call it, right? Their fans, would they pay money? You know what I mean? They don't have the same pull as these younger generation YouTube fans,
because
right?
if you had the same pull, you wouldn't be doing that.
But
show.
that's what I mean.
You know what I mean?
Because you would almost say a Mr. Beast is an A grade celebrity. He is
no,
100%. Logan Paul, Jake Paul, they are A-grade celebrities. Whether we like to say that
my
or not.
reaction there was, it's not a scoff, because it is this weird change of media and who's like for so
following and
you know what I mean.
How did you make this a media chat? This is my sports section. What the hell, Chance?
Infiltrating. It was the plan all along.
Trojan horse bullshit. Let's get it back to sports. Let's get it back to sports.
Yeah. I was just gonna add. You just reminded me that it has become the celebrity fights thing, especially in the YouTube realm.
Yeah.
It has become the whole thing, because I know that they have this thing called Creator Clash, which is all these YouTubers box against each other.
Oh, it's the thing.
And the reason why I know is because Aaron Hansen from Game Grumps, he did both fights. So there's been 2 Creator Clashes so far. He's done 2. So last time
the cute doctor has done it too, right?
The Mike, Dr. Mike, something like that.
What cute doctor? There are no doctors that are fucking cute, all right? They do a good job, but they're not cute.
You'll be surprised.
I'm going to tell you.
No, but because it's the same
Cute
thing. Like, you
Dr.
see
Tom.
these YouTubers, like, they actually prepare, like, they train, and then they actually show up to the ring to fight.
Can I say what's interesting?
What?
The proliferation, and I'm going to attribute it to the UFC.
Yeah.
But like, people have always loved watching fights.
Yeah.
But when you watch, I'll give you a great example. When you watch Rocky, what's the best part of the Rocky movie? The training montage.
Yes.
People love to glamorize this training. They love it. You'll watch. We'll have seven Rocky movies, and guarantee there'll be 7 out of 7 training montages. Right? That'll never go away. People love it. People love putting themselves in that thing.
They would never do
that.
But seeing somebody who's similar to them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where it's connecting. The UFC, it is the UFC because boxing was there prior to the UFC. But the explosion of the UFC, man, you have so many celebrities that worship these UFC fighters.
Yeah.
They now connect with them.
Yeah.
Everyone's doing jiu-jitsu. You should do jiu-jitsu. Everyone's doing jiu-jitsu. Seriously, everyone in Hollywood's doing it. Like, it's the next biggest thing. And this broadcasting fight,
it brings them
it's
clout.
Because you're like, oh, I'm a tough guy. Like, it gives you a bit of like edge, and it does. I love that because of that. But anyway,
I am a victim of random jiu-jitsu.
Speaking of super fights, did you hear about this? This is like breaking news. Mark Zuckerberg suffered a torn ACL while on the Mark. What the hell are you doing?
Revenge
bro?
of the nerds.
You are a nerd, bro. You need to be at the metaverse.
But this
what are you
is
trying
the
to
thing. Like, you're trying to be the appeal to all the masses, and
He
you're
had a
right.
six-pack.
There is a big contingent of people that would love to see just random
shit
out of
rocks.
come out of no, yeah, you know what I mean?
Please tell me.
And also, just because he's a bloody billionaire, he can do whatever the hell
Yeah,
he wants.
yeah.
Now.
He'll pay for his recovery.
Yeah, but,
like,
dude,
no walkers,
If
man.
he's, I mean, I know he was taking this seriously, but to tear an ACL, he must have been doing some hardcore. This was in preparation for Elon. This was in preparation for the Elon fight.
I can't help
we
but
know
think,
it.
Sorry, I can't help but think like, you know, like the Social Network movie and just how like how much they portrayed him as a wuss, and he's like, I'm gonna
fucking
Jesse
do-
Eisenberg. I mean, they're talking about Social Network sequel.
Yeah.
It's gonna include this fight.
Can I say this?
The next lore.
The irony is, it's not even
Make
a
meta
joke.
great.
When, and it's a when, and it might be when these two guys are like a bit more irrelevant in the newsphere scene. When those two fight and they put a pay-per-view, it'll be the biggest pay-per-view of all time. And you will have like McGregor and Francis and what is the World Cup? It will.
Yeah,
it will
because you know
actually
what?
be the
It
biggest
will be-
pay-per-view of all time.
You know what it'll be? It'll be like Civil War, right? Because it'll be like, you know, you'll have them as, you know, Iron Man and Captain America, and then you'll have the contingency of all of these people
Who they sided, who sided with them.
who they've sided with, because also who's going to pay the most money so that,
How
you know.
how about they fight for the company?
Well, I reckon Elon needs some help anyway, so, you know.
Anyway, wait, that's sports. Speaking of Elon, what?
Sports. That was sports.